We're open for business, but we're all in this. It takes each one of us, so your help would be a plus. Traveling, shopping, or ordering a panini. Well, you can count on the NC. Businesses are doing their part. We're learning how we can all outsmart a stupid disease that spreads communicably. We're all tired of living antisocially. Keep your distance, wash your hands. It takes a face covering as we're all discovering. We're all in this together like potpourri. Well, you can count on me NC. Oh, you can count on me NC.
All right, thanks everybody. Welcome to another VisitNC webinar. Special thanks to Hank, Patty, and the Current for that version of our jingle. We're really excited for them, excited for World of Bluegrass that's going on virtually, showcase North Carolina music coming up. So we're really thrilled about that, and I'm happy to see we've got a great contest going on SoundCloud where lots of bands are doing their versions of our jingle. And we're going to pick one and get it some coverage and press. So excited about that. I'm really excited about this webinar because as you know, it's turned to fall and we've survived summer. We were looking forward to travel coming back completely in fall, but we're still under restrictions. So it's going to be a real key this year to keep fall going. And I think events, how can we get events to happen under the current situation? So we've got a great group today to talk about what's going on. Of course, from VisitNC, we've got Allison Schultz talk about our current program. We've got Heidi Walters, who's going to moderate our festivals and events coverage today. We've got Stephanie from the NC Festivals and Events Association, Stephanie McIntyre, our two Stephanies from the NC Seafood Festival, and Beth Carden from Visit Hendersonville, a destination that's done some tremendous job with their events and making them happen, adjusting them for COVID and still being successful in getting those events off. So we're really excited about that. As always, this webinar is being recorded. I'm Whit Tuttle, Director of VisitNC. The webinar will be available on our partners.visitnc site under the COVID-19 resources section. We'll have it up as soon as possible. You can ask questions in the questions tab on the right-hand side of your screen. If you're calling in, you can email questions to guy.gaster@visitnc.com. We'll do a Q&A at the end of the session, so you can ask questions on any of the program. We'll have everybody back, and we're excited to get going. So I'm going to talk first about what's going on these days. And what we're really seeing, I wanted to talk about two trends. As we talk about fall, I think we need to adjust our marketing and how we're reaching out to people. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was the potential for remote work. This slide shows you that most people, almost 60%, are being allowed to work remotely these days. And I think if you looked at the affluent crowd that travels, that's going to be even higher. So we have this tremendous potential for working remotely. And what we're seeing is that a lot of people want to do, and I hate when we create words, but we've created this workcation word. So that is where they will go for a week or potentially even a month and go to a destination and work from there while their family enjoys the destination. So I think we all need to take this into mind that a lot of people want to do this and make sure we're marketing to that, and those opportunities are out there. And a lot of these people are staying at vacation rentals, but this could also be done easily at a hotel. And I've done it, worked a couple days from a hotel as well. It works perfectly. So I think the key is we got to figure out what they're looking for. When you look at this, these are a lot of things that they're looking for, and a big part of it is that high-speed Wi-Fi and internet. And you'll notice it's number 2 on the category. It was misspelled by our research people. High-speed Wi-Fi. I think a high-speed Wi-Fi would also be very valuable as well, but that means high-speed Wi-Fi. I left that in there just because I thought we could all use a laugh today. But you see the other things they're looking for. It's not just the Wi-Fi. It's also they want to have some entertainment, arts. It needs to be a safe destination. Still looking for nature, but also restaurants as well. So I think that's a real important trend that's coming up. And then while we're talking about these made-up words, there's another one that's essentially a schoolcation. Typically in fall, we lose a lot of that business because kids are back in school. With so many kids going remote, at least for the first quarter and potentially for the whole year, there are families that are willing to go down to a vacation spot during the week while the children are in school. They can do the school in the morning and then enjoy the destination in the afternoon. I think a lot of people are looking forward to this. And so we need to market to that. And they're looking for very similar things, but a little different. The high-speed Wi-Fi is still in there, not quite as important. They want peaceful, relaxing. They really want it to be fun. If you're going to bring the kids, you got to have something that's fun. So I think these are really important trends to look at as we pull forward and try and make the most out of March that we can to try and keep as much business going as possible. So I want to get back into some of our programs as well. Of course, we have 2 programs going on right now. One is the grant. This is a tourism recovery grant that was initiated by NCTIA and their work with the legislature. So far, we've had 40 partners participate in it. We've awarded about $500,000. The deadline is today, so get those applications in. Remember, they're $15,000 or $10,000 grants, depending on the size of your DMO's dependence on tourism. And you just need to show some loss and then show us what you're going to do with that. It's for you to do your marketing. It looks like if we don't award all those funds, we will probably do a second round of grants. We will try and keep all those under $25,000 though, because you get into different restrictions once you get above $25,000. And then our other program, of course, is the VisitNC Marketing Credit Program, which we announced about a month ago. That runs until October 9th. We've had 113 partners so far. We've credited $4.35 million to people from across 70 different counties. So we're really thrilled with the way this has worked out. However, there are still about 55 partners who have not responded to this, and you're leaving money on the table anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 that could be used to market your destination. So if you haven't participated in that, please do. If you don't know if your DMO is participating, ask them, get them to respond. We'd love to have more people in the program, as many as possible. Okay, so while we're talking about what we're doing in our programming, I want to bring up Allison Schultz, our marketing director, to talk about what's happening with the current program, Count on Me NC, and all the things she's got going on. So, Allison, are you there?
Thank you so much, Whit. When you see this decal, you see this slide of a Count on Me NC badge on a decal of a door or a window. I'm going to talk about our public safety campaign and share with you some of the latest results and some of the new things that we are deploying this month. On the next slide, you're actually going to see the timeline and the rollout for this event. As you all know, it's generally a slide that I share at the end of my presentation, but I have really awesome news to report in that initial media deployment of that $4.5 million. I can say now that we have fully rolled out all of that media as a result of this week with the launch of our light rail in Charlotte. And I'll be sharing a little bit more about that with you. So the good news is we, from that timeline, that we are reaching a real high volume of eyes and ears in North Carolina with our message. And we are also pacing, as I shared with you a couple of weeks ago, above the metrics that we are tracking for this effort, over 41 million impressions, and we've had 11 million completed video views. And as you know, it's that 30-second spot in particular that is our ad unit of Sunny sharing the story along with the jingle that we are utilizing to really get into the hearts and minds of travelers. We are going to see next, I think it is next week, the results for how September has performed. We're anticipating really good results there, and I look forward to sharing those with you. The other thing that I wanted to share is that we have added a really strong, robust broadcast and cable schedule to our buy, and a lot of those premium placements are actually around some high-profile events, college football and NASCAR. And what we are doing going into the final quarter is engaging with some of those events that are actually taking place in North Carolina. So on this slide, what you can see is Sunny is now donning a helmet, and we are going to really rev up our awareness by engaging with motorsports. We've seen him as a tourist, we've seen him as a karaoke singer, we've seen him as a DJ dropping the beat, and now we're going to see him in racing gear. So it's awesome for me to present to you today that we have entered into an agreement with the king himself, Richard Petty, and Richard Petty Motorsports. Beginning with this October event, the race events in Charlotte on the 10th and 11th, which is both the Xfinity race and the Cup Series. Richard Petty is going to be right alongside us. He is going to be endorsing the program. He is going to be releasing a press release, and he's going to provide us with several hours of production to create some really dynamic content that we can share across social and other channels. You know, we're entirely excited about this because we believe that the king, such an icon to North Carolina, can really help us get that message out to audiences that could be influenced by someone as famous as he is. So on the next slide, what I wanted to share with you is that many team members at RPM are joining in. And what you see on this slide is Thad Moffitt, who happens to be the grandson of the king himself, who was racing over the weekend in Memphis. And he went out and did a video and took the pledge. You can see the badge actually on his race car right there, and you're going to see more of our drivers for RPM taking that pledge and seeing that creative. On the next slide, you can also see how we at VisitNC are engaging with the drivers as they help promote that safety message. And then on the next slide, there's just more information on how we have, again, shared this through our stories and across Instagram and Twitter. So we're really excited about the way we're going to be able to have this banter and to reach an audience that is not necessarily the audience that we have across our social channels. So on the next slide, for this race in October, car number 43, you're going to see the Count on Me and See badge. You're also going to see a younger driver of another sports team, Greg Galding, also having that badge on his car when he races as well as part of Panini Sports. And the exciting thing here to share is with Greg Galding during the Xfinity race on the 10th, we have wrapped a car fully with Count on Me and See. As you can see here, you can see that Greg Galding will also be taking the pledge, and you see his name right there on the car. And let's go ahead and take a look at the sides of the car. So you can see that we are promoting our website. One thing that you won't see is on the tail of the car, at least in this presentation, is we have written across the tail, "Keep your distance." We've heard from Gray that he absolutely loves this car and he's very excited about driving it and hope that he can pull out a win for us. So let's go on to the next slide. As you know, this is just an opportunity for us to really tap into those affiliations with some of our most respected influences in the state. You know, as I shared with you, we partnered, with Duke and UNC on a message saying that these two rival teams are actually on the same team. And we're going to see a lot of that in motorsports as well. Even Kyle Busch, who is a defending two-time champion for the Cup, you're going to see posts from him on Count on Me and See, and some PSAs to that effort, in addition to promoting another initiative as part of the pandemic, and that is with Outdoor NC. So on the next slide, going back to fully rolling out the media in our Count on Me and See campaign is the train. So what you can see in this top image of a mock-up, we start week 1, which started on Monday, 9/28. You see pledge to protect everyone's health, and then you have that badge. Well, weeks 2, 3, and 4, that's where we are engaging an artist, a graffiti artist who is coming in, and he puts his name on the name badge, as I've shared before, and you also see his art on the remainder of the train. So we're excited for that. On the next slide, you can just see a real quick screenshot of that light rail and getting ready to put our message into action. So on the next slide, as you know, we opened up the webinar this morning. Wow, what an opening, with Hank, Patty, and the Current. And this is actually part of our sponsorship with the Bluegrass Festival that is ongoing this week. We are a presenting sponsor for both the Ramble as well as the awards ceremony on Thursday, and we are a top tier sponsor for the festival events that occur this weekend. So we're going to get extensive exposure with that. A lot of our videos will be seen by the audience who will be tuning in. In addition to, they have a great distribution platform to ensure that we get our message out there, and it just made perfect sense for us to be involved. We were thrilled to have a North Carolina bluegrass band come in and do their own rendition and mix of the jingle. And as Whit mentioned, as you will see on the next slide, we do have a contest, as I've talked about probably a couple of months ago with SoundCloud. We are currently listening to a number of the entries. We've extended the contest until October 15th to generate more buzz for it, but we're real excited to have a solid 12 entries that we will be selecting a winner and then pushing that out for the remainder of Q4 of 2020. So on the last slide, I just thought I would share a little bit site performance with you, since countonmenc.org is our call to action for our media campaign. What you can see here in terms of new users, we have exceeded 200,000, and total sessions is nearing closer to 300,000. We're continuing to see people take that pledge. We're hoping that with these affiliations with these celebrity race car drivers, we'll be able to get more people to take the pledge and to adopt those safe behaviors. And then when you just kind of look at that animated video, when people land on the site, they're actually going ahead and watching the full length at 60 seconds. So very, very exciting for us, and we're really gearing up to have a real final run. Now, I just want to share Dana Grimstead. She is the Wonder Woman who is really helping us manage our marketing credit program and the grants. And she has an audience of dogs in the backgrounds. So for that, I apologize. But if you have any questions regarding these programs, please make sure that you reach out to her. And also, she sent out an email, I think you had received it yesterday, regarding if you want to order masks. I know that comes up always during our webinars, and we have an opportunity there for you to do so. So now, without further ado, I would really like to introduce a colleague that I am really honored to work with, and that is Heidi Walters. She is our Director of Partner Industry Relations, and she's going to lead a wonderful discussion today about how to host safe events. So Heidi, take it away. And I'm going to turn my mic.
Thanks, Allison. And good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you again. And before we get into the meat of the safe events discussion, I want to give a brief update about the meeting and convention co-op that we're doing with North Star. We are still working out the details. Right now, North Star is figuring out all the particulars so that we have some really good information to give you, hopefully by the end of this week. They have determined that it still will be a 3-part series, but it would probably be held on 2 days. So they will take place in November and December, so nothing in October, November and December, and it will still be 2 of the regionals that cover several different markets, and then 1 of the nationals. There will be no North Carolina associations, excuse me, taking part in this because AENC is still being held in December, and most of our destinations have really good relationships with those folks, those planners anyway. But they will be one-on-one meetings, and everyone who participates will get a full list of all the planners, all the profiles at the end of it, and we will work in a little bit of North Carolina messaging as well. So that's just an update. Please stay tuned. I promise, between myself and Melinda with the Greater Raleigh Convention and Visitors Bureau, we are hounding North Star for these details. So I promise to have you something very, very soon. So with that, we will get started. So, you know, when the whole pandemic shut everyone down, my team called all of our CVBs, DMOs, TDAs, just to find out, you know, what's the pulse, what's going on. And we've called them 2 or 3 times since then. And some of the small and medium-sized communities were really, really distressed because so much of their funding comes from these events that they have. And if they can't have the events, how will they get funding? And it also creates a real community confidence. So we have a great panel today. We have Stephanie St. Cyng Nassette is going to talk about North Carolina festivals and events and some of the committee work that they have put together. She's also going to talk a little bit about the barbecue festival. And excuse me, Stephanie McIntyre with the North Carolina Seafood Festival, and what a cool, innovative thing they have come up with for the Seafood Festival this year. And then Beth Carden with the Henderson County TDA will talk a little bit about how they have pivoted and created some new events to sort of take place of those and still generate a little bit of revenue. Obviously, it's not the same as having 100,000 people in your community, but it's some revenue, and it still gets that cohesive community experience. So I am going to turn it over to Stephanie first, who's going to give us sort of an overview of everything. Thank you, and welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation. Anytime I can talk about festivals and events in North Carolina, it's a good day. No surprise, obviously COVID-19 has put an abrupt stop to all festivals and events, not just in North Carolina, but throughout the world. And we truly believe it has redefined how festivals and events will be carried out moving forward in the future, 2021 and beyond. And so Robert Crumbine and his folks at Charlotte Center City Partners and Christine Lockett and a whole panel of industry leaders came together and developed the NC Fest Task Force guidelines. And so it took several months to put these together. We're really proud of the effort and the outcome. I think those are added as a handout, and you can also see them at ncfestivals.com. But it's really a summary of recommendations that you can use moving forward. We don't see any live events coming back, obviously, in 2020. So these are things and tools that you can use now and begin planning for 2021. So many people are focusing their energy on next year. So these guidelines really in summary are about communicating with your vendors, screening entertainers and people that are attending. I think one of the big obstacles most festivals and events are going to have that are there's no admission gate is how are you going to screen and mitigate. So that's a big something that we cover in here. Are people going to have face coverings? We know they're going to have sanitizing stations. Porta-johns are another big issue that we talk about in here. Insurance, legal protection. Is that going to be affordable? What is going to be required? We think those requirements are going to look different in the future. And another obstacle I think we're going to face is, and we're facing now, is will there be enough PPE available for us to purchase to meet the demand for all festivals and events to begin and thrive? I do want to say that you know, we talk about reinventing, reimagining the festivals and events for the future, and I'll say that so many people have done an amazing job, given the circumstances, to create virtual or smaller events. And so I wanted to give you a few people that you can definitely check out their websites. Town of Cornelius did an amazing jazz festival virtually. Jody Clark spearheaded that. Kings Mountain did an amazing beach blast. That's Christy Connor. The North Carolina Black Bear Festival, Tom Harrison did his all virtual this year. Teresa Mathis with the North Carolina Whirligig Festival in Wilson is working very hard to put together her event for November. You're going to hear more from Stephanie McIntyre about her incredible initiatives there in Morehead City. Her festival would have been this coming weekend. So, and in Lexington with the Barbecue Festival, obviously it was canceled. It was set for October 24th. We were expecting over 100,000 people to Lexington. And so now I've partnered with Robin Bivens with our Lexington Tourism Authority, and we're going to launch a Lift Up Lexington campaign on October 24th, and we'll be announcing more details about that next week. But I think it's important for us to focus our energy on continuing to do positive things for our community in the midst of a crisis. So I look forward to answering any questions you all may have at the end. But I would just say that this task force guideline that's been put together is going to be an incredible resource for you all. And there's some others. There's the Event Safety Alliance. So there are many guidelines, but I think they're all going to be incredibly important to read and understand as we move forward.
Great, thanks, Stephanie. We appreciate that. And I will say I have read that document, and it is very comprehensive and very well done. So I would encourage you all to look at the handouts or go to that website to find that. Next up, we do have Stephanie McIntyre with the North Carolina Seafood Festival. And she is going to tell us about what they are doing this year instead of inviting thousands and thousands of people to Morehead City. So thank you, Stephanie, for being with us today.
Thank you, Heidi. I'm excited to be here today. Normally at this time of year, I'm out on the street, sweating, baseball hat, and can't even get to a phone or a computer. So I'm in a different place right now. But again, we are having to move forward in these unprecedented times. I have to go back real quick to Allison when she said that she has UNC and Duke on the same team this year. I'm quite impressed because I'm a Tar Heel. So I thought that was great that you were able to get both teams on one team for the Count on Me initiative. So anyway, just had to add that in real quick. But what we are doing this year is, no pun intended, but it's out of the box. We kind of had to think, what can we do to take our festival, the North Carolina Seafood Festival, that we typically have about 200,000 people here for the 3-day weekend. What can we do to still reach out and carry on our mission? And one of our mission statements out of the 5 is to educate the public about North Carolina seafood and the industry overall. So we have every year we actually have one of our signature events on the waterfront, and it's the Cooking with the Chef's Tent, where people can actually come in and they get to sample a different North Carolina seafood every hour on the hour, and it's cooked by a chef, a North Carolina chef that we have hand selected that serves local in their restaurant, and we get them from all over the state. So what we did is we took this tent and figured, let's bring it to your doorstep. So kind of based on the idea of the Open Fresh and Blue Apron boxes that people buy, we designed ours to bring this to your front door. So you can actually order these right now. And I know everybody wants to support the seafood festival and the industry, but this goes further than just supporting your local fishermen. We teamed up with the Produce Box out of Raleigh, and the North Carolina Department of Agriculture is our partner in this endeavor. They're our sponsor, and they are our premier sponsor of this. And what we did is we actually went out, we selected these 4 prestigious chefs and had them each design and prepare, and we videoed them cooking a North Carolina seafood in their own kitchen. So it was a lot of fun. Just saying, I got to sample every single one of these dishes, and they are off the charts. But I'm not a chef, I'm not a cook, so this was something that even I can do at home. So we wanted them styled that you know, the average person could do it at their house. But here's the key. We couldn't put the seafood in there because obviously the shipping and the costs were just going to knock over the amount of the box to make it affordable to most people. So part of the learning process is for you to go to the North Carolina Department of Agriculture website, and you can search out at your own town where to purchase North Carolina seafood in your area. If you don't have a place that's close by, you can order it from Inland Seafood, and they'll ship the seafood to your door. So we wanted people to make this kind of almost like a treasure hunt. You got to go out and find your own seafood. But once you learn where you can get your seafood, we want you to always buy your seafood there. So that was part of the box that was stitched into it to make sure that we deliver that message on eating local seafood. But we actually even went further with this box. We use North Carolina artisan products. So you're supporting your North Carolina artisans. You're supporting your North Carolina farmer, because the produce box gets all of their produce that's supplied in a box from North Carolina farmers, North Carolina chefs, your North Carolina seafood. And then we even went deeper. And when you get the card, the recipe card in the box with all the goodies, we've given you a North Carolina beer, a North Carolina wine, and a North Carolina liquor that will pair well with these dishes. Now, those aren't in the box, but we've given you the information on where to purchase those different beverages. So, and then on Fridays, we will have Friday Catch Tales, where we're actually going to show you how to make that cocktail that we've actually advertised in the box with that North Carolina distiller. So this is truly a North Carolina box. And we just felt like it kind of took us to a different level. We, with the intention of bringing the festival to so many more people and taking it outside the borders of just Little Morehead City. So again, this is going a lot bigger and a lot further than we even planned when we first thought of the idea. Just a little note, we are doing a few other things. We are doing a virtual road race, which there are several of those going on now in the state, and I think you're going to see that continue. And again, that's going to reach out to a different level of runners because you can do it on your own, and you can do it at home, you can do it on your street, wherever it's convenient for you, and just enter your time. So again, just because we're restricted by COVID in so many ways, we as festival and event planners look at this as opportunities. Do they challenge us? Yes, but I know that the people in this industry will bring their best and meet these challenges and go above and beyond these challenges. So we have some other things going on. We've got prizes all month. Something that played in well for us is this is National Seafood Month. So we are celebrating all month, which we've never done before. So you will see in the festival and event industry the creation of what's going to be called a hybrid festival. It will have elements of virtual pieces, and it will also, once we can get back into the streets, you'll see that as well. So we're excited about the future. Yes, this has been difficult for us all. But again, I know this industry and I know many people in this industry, and they will bring their A game, and you're going to see things that you've never seen, and they will be definitely out of the box. But thank you for your time. I'm always open to questions. You can reach me at stephanie@ncseafoodfestival.org, and I'm happy to help with any other festivals, events, ideas, whatever you need. But thank you for having me today.
Oh yeah, thank you. And I'm looking forward to having my flounder dinner that I have purchased. So it should be good. And so to give us a different take on things, we will have Beth Carden with the Henderson County TDA talk to us about what they have created. We always know that Beth is always out there doing something new and different, and she has not let us down again this year. So I will turn it over to Beth. Thanks for being with us, Beth.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited to share some of the things that we did in Hendersonville that impacted our economic stability for the whole county. First of all, I'm going to touch on 3 events that we actually did. The first one, when we were already at 15% above in our revenues at the end of February over last year, which was a 33-year record for us. So we've really felt the challenge that we had to do something rather than just cancel everything for the next 3 to 6 months. So the first major event that we took on was Garden Jubilee. It has grown into a huge garden-themed show outdoor on Main Street in Hendersonville that we usually see about 200,000 plus people come in 2 days on Memorial Day weekend. So we tried to figure out how in the world were we going to help support the agriculture businesses that have been growing for this event all spring and into the month of May. So what we did is we took that event, and we've been planning on it for over 3 to 6 months, and decided that we would reformat it within less than 3 weeks. What we did is we ended up sending the people out to 15 nurseries and orchards. Now you ask, why did we pick orchards? They didn't have anything to sell in May, but we needed their space. And we took about 50 of our regional vendors that are garden themed and placed them out in all these 15 venues, and then quickly created a new brochure with a map and did some really quick public relations and got the word out. Our hotels were more than full for 4 days. By expanding the event from 2 to 4 days, actually helped spread the people out as well. The biggest concern I had was were people willing to drive around versus having it all right here in front of them on Main Street. And actually, for weeks after that event, we heard people say they really loved going to nurseries. It enables some of our nurseries to participate that had large trees and shrubs and things that they couldn't actually bring down to the festival downtown. The other aspect we were concerned about is we have 24 restaurants on Main Street. That's a lot for a small town as Hendersonville is. But we encouraged all the venues to send their customers to Main Street. They said that was one of the best weekends they had had in 26 years we've been doing Garden Jubilee. So it was a win-win for everyone, especially the biggest concern from a TDA perspective is putting heads in beds. And the virtual events are great for communities to draw attention to those events and to the community, but it's not creating the revenue that I need to do my marketing. So we had to do something beyond the virtual part. We had to actually try to put heads in beds. We had already been preparing and supporting by providing resources to all of our accommodations. We encouraged them all to participate in the Count on Me NC program. And we kept sending them all the resources we could put our hands on how to social distance these numbers of people that would be coming to their locations. And they did a fine job with it. And we were real excited that they had such a successful event. Many of the vendors had been participating on Main Street for years, told us they had a better weekend out in these venues than they did on Main Street with 200,000 people in front of them. So it just shows you that you can quickly take something and turn it into something you never dreamed. And I consider myself a successful risk taker, and we worked hard to create that feeling with all of our tourism industry in Hendersonville. The next one we were faced with was Art on Main. They considered canceling. We tried to help them reformat to do the same thing, to take their art vendors out into about 5 different locations. They eventually decided to do a virtual show, which they just did this past weekend, and they're still determining how successful that was. But again, my interest was putting heads in beds. So the virtual show did not help us necessarily do that, but it did help the Arts Council and the artists, have the platform in which to try to sell their work. And then the other big one that we had for the end of the summer was the North Carolina Apple Festival. It normally sees to about 250,000 people on Main Street for 4 days during the Labor Day weekend. And so we reached out to the Apple Festival Committee and tried to offer to help them reformat it, just like we did Garden Jubilee. And they said thank you, but no thank you. So in the meantime, I'm thinking, how am I going to fill my hotels with visitors if there's nothing going on Main Street? So we have an orchard trail brochure that highlights, out of hundreds of orchards in the county, we have 21 that actually have public experience, like pick your own apples, hay rides, mazes, food, all kinds of shooting apples out of a gun. And so they have really become we have become a true agritourism county here in Hendersonville. We grow the most apples in North Carolina, and here they are growing apples. What are they going to do with them if people don't come and buy them? So we quickly reformatted that. We weren't trying to replace the Apple Festival because next year is their 75th anniversary, but we wanted to fill our hotels. So we created the Orchard Trail Days that actually kicked off on Labor Day and will actually take us through the entire harvest season. Our hotels told us over the weekend they could have filled their rooms 2 to 3 times. We were totally full. I bought signs and took them out to the different venues and placed them, and it said shopping downtown Hendersonville. The merchants downtown said they had a better Labor Day weekend than they could ever remember. So it partnered our downtown with the orchards that were actually pulling people away from downtown into their venues. And it was a win-win. The orchards are still feeling the repercussions of huge numbers, but I'm so proud of our industry. They worked very hard on, dealing with social distancing, providing all of the resources that they could on helping people understand how to deal with fruit, picking produce, those kind of things. And we hope we will still have a tremendous season to take us through probably mid-November. We've worked very hard over the years to educate and empower our industry to take some of their own responsibility for their success, and I'm very, very proud of them. They've all stepped up during this COVID. Our occupancy tax has been right at what last year was, and last year was a record for us, so we're really excited. We're expecting a great fourth quarter due to this effort that we've been putting in. One of the things that I did, I had a brainstorm right after the COVID shut everything down. As my staff continued to come in and work in the office, we created a Cheers Trail Passport program. And we put 23 of our craft venues like beer, wine, and cider into a passport. And we sell the passport for $10. They move around to all the 23 venues and get at least 12 stamps. And then they bring the passport back to us at the visitor center and redeem it for a $10 gift. What this did is it moved the people around without congregating them in large crowds in any one location, but it moves them around our craft beverage industry, which is growing and growing here, as we have 23 craft vendors now around the county. So we're doing everything we can to put heads in beds here. That's our mantra, and we worked hard for that, and our industry has become a very strong partner in enabling us to do that. So we're really excited and hope that other communities will also try to figure out how to help their economy through putting heads in beds. The hotels can figure out how to provide safe experiences for the visitor, and people are traveling. They're traveling from around the country, and they want places to go that they feel safe. I think the Count on Me program is an exceptional program help individual counties like ourselves to assure the visitors they're going to have a great experience here. So with that, I will also answer questions. I'm glad to send you anything that we have created that promotes what we have done, and I'll turn it back to Heidi. Hopefully we'll have some questions.
Great, thanks, Beth. That's a lot you've done in the 6 months that we've been in this pandemic. So I want to thank everybody for participating today, and I want to remind you of the handouts that we have. We have the NC Festival and Events Safety Task Force Guide. We have the International Event Safety Alliance Guide. We've got the Seafood Festival slide. And we have some North Carolina examples that also include what Beth was talking about. And then I've heard that people are having trouble downloading the DHHS guidelines. So we are going to put that in Newslink today. And if for some reason you don't get any of that, please let myself or Guy or somebody on our team know, and we'll make sure we get that for you. So now I'm going to turn it back over to Whit to do our questions. Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot. Here, you know what else? I'll do this. See if I can do this. Guy, can we set it up where I can present? I can show them. I've got the call up. If you just Google interim guidance for fall related events, DHHS interim guidance for fall related events, you'll get that sheet from them. And that was one of the major questions we've had, is the DHHS PDF will not open. So we'll get that out to everybody. Okay, first question is for Allison. Are you hoping by working with Richard Petty that there is the potential for other race teams to join?
Yeah, so we have Richard Petty, as you know, and we also have Greg Galding, who's really going to help us with the younger audiences. And additionally, Kyle Bush is going to join the effort. So we'll have 3 race teams who will affiliate with us, endorse the program, and help reach fans to take the pledge.
While we're talking about racing, of course, I think we slipped up and we said the race in Charlotte. Actually, as everyone knows, the race is in Concord, because that's Cabarrus County is where racing lives. So just wanted to get that out there and make sure we cleared up that for anybody who was confused. Okay, we had a question for Stephanie with the Festival and Events Association. Stephanie, when do you think events will come back? We've heard a lot of talk about winter, spring, summer. What would be your best guess?
Well, I would say that, first of all, outdoor events are going to be the first. We know that. Indoor is probably going to be the last, especially large indoor events. But what we're hearing and sort of the pulse of the industry is that spring events should probably be thinking of ways to reinvent themselves. Unfortunately, again, because now remember this, like for example, Julie Beck with the North Carolina Pickle Festival, they, this news was coming in March, and then so they had to make a quick announcement that they were canceling in April, and now it looks like things could be shifting again. In fact, Merlefest has, as many of you know, has moved their date for 1 year in 2021 to, I think it's September or October, but a fall date versus their spring date, just to allow a little more time for everything to shuffle out. So I would, the short answer is summer, maybe fall. I certainly hoping by fall. I would hate to see all these events have to cancel twice. Stephanie McIntyre's had to cancel twice. Once because of hurricane last year, and then this year. So I just don't know that events can survive if we aren't able to get back to some sort of normalcy.
Yeah. So let's hope we can get it by the summer. Then a lot of those fall events for next year will be okay.
Yes.
Stephanie from the Seafood Festival had a question. What is the price range for those seafood boxes you're providing?
Oh, they range anywhere. As a matter of fact, I got it right here. Let's see. Well, the first box has already stopped orders, so you have 3 other ones to choose from. and they range anywhere from $32 to $34, but then you got the shipping on top of that, which is like $10 to $13. So 40-ish, 45.
That's great.
Yep. And then you get your seafood.
Right. And where can people order them from?
You can order them on our website at ncseafoodfestival.org.
Okay. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Question for Allison. Will you please repeat where it is possible to order Count on Me NC masks?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of the question.
If you can tell them where they can order the Count on Me NC masks.
So we sent out an email yesterday with a link to where you could order 50 masks. That would be the minimum order at about $2.93 per mask. That cost could go down just slightly depending upon the total volume of the order that we will place on Friday. And you are able to use your marketing credit or your grant dollars if you've been approved for those towards that purchase. If you want to go directly to Dana Grimstead, she can help you out and make sure that you get that link and that email.
So for an email, that's Dana, D-A-N-A .Grimstead, Grimstead @visitnc.com.
Great.
All right. This is for any of our festival and event folks. Do you see festivals and events needing to go ahead and start acquiring PPE for 2021 events?
Absolutely. Yes.
Agree.
And there's another question that kind of relates to that. Are the outdoor events requiring masks for patrons or guests?
Yes.
You've seen that across the state, yes.
Yes.
Requiring, basically, because it's also part of the state requirements. So that would make sense. Okay.
Most people, if they don't have a mask, they provide them one in our county.
Correct. That would be our recommendation. If you're going to have an event, you should actually provide them. But for us, as I know, most festivals and events, we would certainly adhere to the guidelines of the state. That's where I think we all are right now.
Agreed.
So the best advice for an event is to be prepared, have all those PPE on hand, and require it, and probably get people as they're coming in, right? Not once they're in, but get them as they enter.
Yes. I run a visitor center, and we're seeing at least 200 people a day come through. And it's interesting what they're saying to us. If they're coming from out of state, they're checking with us or the state, somewhere in the state, to find out what the state regulations are. So they're coming prepared with masks, because we tell them all our businesses require them to have a mask to go in. And so we have not had any negative issues concerning masks.
That's great. Okay, one more. Have festival partners seen success with drive-through events, such as fair foods or specialty foods in place of the festival as a way to help those vendors make some money?
Mm-hmm. I think so. You know, the Fayetteville Dogwood Festival is actually hosting their second one this year, this weekend. So they are seeing some success in lieu of not having their festival. The NC State Fair has been doing some of that. So there's several organizations that have had success with that. And I would encourage.
The Arboretum normally has a walk-through light show every Christmas, which is stupendous. And this year they're doing a drive-through light show as an alternative.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea when people are available to do that. That allows people to stay socially distant yet still enjoy it.
Right.
Okay, we also had a reminder from Tom Rhodes, who works for the Department of Environment and Natural Resources and does their green travel program, that NC Festivals and Events can get free listings to promote their events on www.ncgreentravel.org by downloading and submitting an application by email. So that's another great resource for everybody out there to promote your events. Happy to work with Tom and that group as they try and promote healthy travel to the state. Had another question about media missions as far as VisitNC, whether we will be doing media missions. That is still TBD. We typically do media missions in early months, January, February, March, and April. We will see about that. We're still evaluating it. We'll kind of try and let people know as soon as possible, but right now we don't have any of that on the schedule. Obviously, it'll depend on what happens with the pandemic. All right, we'll give another second for any other questions or any other notes from the panelists. Anything you guys want to get out? And if that's it, it's 11 o'clock. Everybody go out and have a good day. Thanks so much to the two Stephanies. Great stuff. And Beth, as always, fantastic overview from you. Thanks, Heidi and Allison and Allison's dogs for joining us today. And we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.